back. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
2 cases of the COVID-19 Brazil variant have been found in San Diego County. What we know about the patients and how this new strain could impact those who've already been vaccinated.
Plus, the Cajon Valley Union School District in the national spotlight tonight for getting kids back in the classroom and safely. Now their practices could be used at schools nationwide. And
I cried the first day it opened.
A local nurse who volunteered at the start of the vaccine rollout is overcome with emotion. The positive impact she says the experience has had on her life.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
For the first time, the Brazil variant of the coronavirus has been detected in San Diego County. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. There are currently 2 cases identified so far. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo joins us with more on the strain that could be more resistant to our vaccines. Laura.
Yeah, Stephen, research is still being done to find out just how much of an effect this variant could have on those vaccines. Now, those 2 cases found here in our county, one of them is a county resident, the other is not. County officials say it is important for us to continue staying vigilant and keep taking all of the safety precautions we have been taking since the start of this pandemic. Both patients were not vaccinated and are said to be recovering quickly. County officials said one of the cases was linked to international travel. The other had no travel history, meaning there could be community transmission. This is the second COVID-19 variant found in our county. In late December, county officials discovered cases of the UK variant. The Brazilian strain was first discovered in January. When these variants were first discovered, there was fear that they could become the more dominant strain, more than the original virus here in San Diego. Research is still being done into how effective the vaccines stand up against this variant, but scientists consider it a variant of concern.
Which means that it is possible that the vaccine may be, or some vaccines may be less effective, or that somebody who's already had COVID might be reinfected with the strain. It does not necessarily appear at this time that it's more transmissible to others, but that's again something that's being researched.
Now, although there are concerns about this variant being less, or the vaccines, being less effective against this variant, Dr. McDonald did express that anyone who is eligible right now in San Diego County for a vaccine should still move forward, make those appointments, and get vaccinated when it is their turn. Reporting live, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Laura, thank you. Here are the latest numbers on the coronavirus in San Diego County. 257 new cases were reported today. That brings the total now to 268,417. And there were also 11 new deaths, bringing that total now to more than 3,500.
A San Diego school district is in the national spotlight for getting kids back to the classroom safely. Teachers from Cajon Valley took part in a summit today hosted by the Department of Education. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz explains why the school is being used as an example for the rest of the country.
First Lady Jill Biden leading off the National Safe Schools Reopening Summit Wednesday.
We're here to listen and learn from you.
The Department of Education hosting the virtual event to gain insight on how schools across the country are getting kids back to the classroom. The Cajon Valley Union School District was chosen as a prime example of how to do that.
Our learning and reopening was trying new things.
The district has been pioneering what learning looks like during a pandemic, often reopening when other districts decided to stay closed. Last April, they started childcare for essential workers. In June, they held summer classes in person. In August, they had a hybrid schedule with some days on campus and some days at home. By next month, they'll be back to pre-pandemic levels of in-person classes 5 days a week. Assistant Superintendent Karen Minshew credits their success to constant communication with teachers and parents.
Engagement of every person, every customer we have.
Minshew says they've had more than 100 town hall sessions in the past year.
Listening to them, telling what's working, what's not, where we need resources and support.
On April 12th, every family who wants their student in the classroom will have that option.
We're bringing back our electives. We can now have band outside. We went to a block schedule at middle school, and our teachers rotate instead of our students.
With 27 schools, they have 11,000 students doing some form of in-person learning. The district says they've only had one case of COVID-19 passed on campus so far. Jennifer Dela Cruz, ABC 10 News.
While in-person classes will resume 5 days a week in April, families will still have the option to continue virtual learning from home. The White House is also detailing its plan to help schools across America reopen during the pandemic. It's dedicating $81 billion as part of President Biden's rescue plan to help schools resume full-time in-person learning with a focus on equality.
Only 28% of black students are going to school in person daily. 33% of Latino students, and only 15% of our Asian students, compared to half of white students.
The White House says it will withhold $41 billion in aid for K-12 school reopenings until governors submit plans on how their states will close the gaps in education equity that the pandemic has only made worse. And you can keep up with any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
Now to a developing story unfolding in Washington tonight. Just days after a mass shooting in Colorado that killed 10 people, Democrats are now calling for stricter gun laws, claiming it's a matter of life and death. But as ABC's Mary Alice Parks explains, they are meeting resistance from Republicans.
New details about the deadly mass shootings in Georgia and Colorado, including the suspected weapons used and indications the Atlanta shooter purchased his gun the same day he used it, have put gun laws back in the spotlight once again.
We all want our lives and our country to return to normal, but not this normal. Oh no. Not the normal that accepts everyday gun violence as a matter of course.
According to the Gun Violence Archive, more than 19,000 people died from gun violence in 2020, up from over 15,000 the year before, not including suicides. Nationwide, polling suggests that many gun safety measures are popular. Last month, the House passed two major bipartisan bills to expand background checks. While Senate Republicans have largely opposed those House bills, today Republican Senator Lindsey Graham suggested his GOP colleagues may be open to some improvements in the background check system.
There are a lot of people who've been adjudged in a court of law, mentally danger to themselves or others, that are not in the current background system.
Colorado State Representative Tom Sullivan said he is not interested in waiting for Washington to act and is working on more local laws.
My son, Alex, was murdered on July 20th, 2012, celebrating his 27th birthday in the Aurora Theater massacre. But we're not going to stand idly by and wait. We did that before, and that's not something we can do again.
Gun safety advocates pointing out that the city of Boulder had moved to ban assault weapons 2 years ago, but that local law was just blocked in court days before the alleged gunman is thought to have purchased an AR-style weapon. Mary Alice Parks, ABC News, Washington.
There's a shooter, active shooter, get away!
Horrific new details are now emerging about Monday's shooting in Colorado. According to the arrest affidavit, witnesses say the accused gunman started the attack by gunning down an elderly man in the parking lot. Another shopper live streamed the chaos inside, as you could see, while the family of the store's manager was among thousands watching.
We're watching it on my phone as the police are just getting there. And, we're horrified.
The gunman has been identified as a 21-year-old man. His former classmates claim that he had an explosive temper. Investigators are still trying to figure out a motive.
There is a growing debate over what to do with the train tracks in Del Mar because of unstable cliffs underneath. One local councilman says his idea wouldn't require building a costly bridge or tunnel. He told ABC 10 News reporter Cassie Carlisle the train tracks should disappear.
It seems as long as the trains have been rolling down Del Mar, the cliffs underneath have been eroding away.
Gravity's not going to quit. Ocean waves are going to bang at the rock cliffs.
Geologist Pat Abbott says there's no getting around it.
I'm always in favor of designing with Mother Nature rather than trying to battle her.
So Sandag has been working on plans to build a tunnel or reroute the train. Both plans would cost millions of dollars. Del Mar Councilman and North County Transit District Board member Dan Quirk thinks neither is the right plan.
When I look at the ridership numbers, I'm asking the question, is the train even worth saving at this point?
The 2019 State of the Commute report shows the coaster had the lowest ridership of all the rail lines, and over the past 5 years has slightly decreased ridership on average.
The ridership numbers and the freight numbers are incredibly low, and we've got technology with Tesla and Uber and self-driving cars. It's not here today, but in 10, 15, 20 years, that's the time frame we're talking about for a potential tunnel. I think that technology is going to be pretty advanced.
Quirk thinks instead the passengers should be rerouted.
I think you can make the case today that you could terminate the train and no one would really notice.
While average ridership is around 5,100 people a weekday, that's minimal compared to nearly 60,000 people who ride the UC San Diego Blue Line. Quirk thinks ridership will be even lower after the pandemic due to more people working remotely. Cassie Carlisle, ABC 10 News.
San Diego is still working on plans to relocate the coaster, and the North County Transit District is not aware of any alternative options to remove the line. SDG&E customers will soon receive a break on their utility bills thanks to the state's efforts to fight climate change. Under the California Climate Credit Program, almost $18 will be slashed from people's bills next month. Then $34 will be slashed in both August and September. The program requires power plants, natural gas providers, and other large industries that emit greenhouse gases to buy carbon pollution permits. The credit on customers' bills is their share of the payments from the state program. The father who entered the elephant exhibit at the San Diego Zoo is out on bail. Police say Jose Navarrete carried his 2-year-old daughter into the Elephant Odyssey exhibit last Friday. Video from a witness then showed him drop the girl and run to safety as the elephant charged at them. Navarrete was arrested and is facing charges of suspicion of child endangerment. He is expected to be arraigned later this month.
San Diego Unified Superintendent Cindy Martin was on Capitol Hill today taking questions from lawmakers. Martin's been nominated to serve as Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education. But as our ABC 10 News reporter Adam Rakusin explains, he explains why some members of the community protested her nomination.
Outside of the San Diego Unified School District headquarters, community members protesting Superintendent Cindy Martin's nomination as the United States Deputy Secretary of Education.
I am a mother, I am a community member, I am an educator, and I am mad as hell that they allowed Cindy Martin to go up through the ranks.
The protest happening as Martin faced lawmakers in Washington. The superintendent of San Diego Unified explaining why she should be confirmed.
I will work to use my experiences in San Diego to help support efforts across the country to reopen schools safely and bring children back to the classrooms.
Senators grilled Martin on topics ranging from school choice to learning loss, achievement gaps, how federal funds should be spent, and when kids will be back in the classroom. While Martin was met with some praise.
Despite any reservations, I believe your passion for education and for kids to learn in the classroom will enable you to succeed.
She was also questioned on her record and how San Diego Unified's handled in-person instruction during the pandemic.
I am concerned that San Diego, under your leadership, has closed its schools for in-person instruction this year with very limited exceptions.
San Diego Unified Board President Richard Barrera says Martin's track record is why it's important for her to work at a national level.
To have Cindy in the leadership role that she's being nominated for means we can have clear and honest conversations about what local school districts need and expect that the federal government will respond with real and relevant support.
Adam Rakusin, ABC 10 News.
San Diego Unified has announced plans to reopen classrooms and return to in-person instruction the week of April the 12th. The district says school days will be modified to accommodate social distancing and safety protocols, and students will continue with some online learning.